My grandfather left the porch light on every night for 40 years. My grandmother turned it off the week he died. I noticed it the night after we buried him. I pulled into the driveway with a car full of leftover casseroles, and for the first time in my life, the porch was black. Grandma, your light's out. I called through the screen door. I'll grab a bulb. Leave it, she said from the kitchen sink. No sense wasting power now. Now. That word snagged on something in me. Grandpa flipped that switch every evening at dusk. Rain, holidays, the night of his own heart attack. He'd click it on and say the same thing every time, so she can find her way back. I was 7 the first time I asked who she was. My mom pulled me aside later. Your grandpa had a daughter before your mother, Ruth. She left at 19. Nobody talks about it. 40 years. I did the math driving home that night, and it lined up exactly. He'd started leaving that light on the week Ruth walked out. Grandma killing it 6 days after his funeral didn't feel like grief. It felt like relief, like she'd been waiting. The next morning, I went back to sort his things. Take whatever, she said. It's all junk. But she followed me room to room. Every drawer I opened, she was in the doorway. When I reached for the cedar chest at the foot of the bed, she moved fast for a woman of 80. Not that one. That's mine. I'm just looking for his medals, Grandma. They're not in there. Her hand clamped over the latch. Go check the garage. So I went to the garage, waited 10 minutes, came back. She was in the bathroom, water running. I opened the chest. Letters, dozens, banded in rubber, all in the same looping handwriting, all addressed to my grandfather, all from a Ruth in Bakersfield, 2 hours away. The postmarks went back decades. The newest was from that October. My hand shook as I opened the top one. Dad, I don't know if you still read these. It's been so long since you wrote back that I stopped hoping. But I drove by last spring and the porch light was on, so I know you're still there. That light is the only thing telling me I still have a home. Please, just one word. Ruthie. I dug deeper and found a second bundle. Carbon copies. Replies in Grandma's handwriting, signed with Grandpa's name. Ruth, your father wants nothing to do with you. Do not write again. Do not come here. You made your choice. Dated across 40 years. He never saw one letter she sent. She never read one word he actually wrote. Grandma had stood in the middle the whole time, feeding them both lies. He kept that light on because he'd promised Ruth the day she left that as long as it burned, she had a home. He never knew she'd stopped believing him. And Grandma turned it off the week he died, so that if Ruth ever drove past again, she'd finally understand she wasn't wanted. I copied the return address into my phone and slipped out to my car before Grandma finished in the bathroom. I dialed the number printed under the newest letter. It rang 4 times. Hello? A woman's voice, careful, tired. Is this Ruth? I said. I'm Karen's daughter, your niece. Silence. Then a breath that shook. Is my father? He passed last week, but he never stopped waiting for you. He never got your letters, Ruth. Not one of them. I heard her start to cry. That's not possible. He wrote back. He told me to stay away. That wasn't him. It was Grandma. She's been answering as him for 40 years. The line went quiet except for her breathing. The light, she finally said. Was the light really his? Every night, rain or shine. He said it so you could find your way back. I drove past a week ago and it was off, she whispered. I thought that was his answer. I thought he'd finally given up on me. Then get in your car, I said. The address hasn't changed. I went back inside. Grandma was standing in the kitchen, drying her hands. You went through my chest. You've been writing to her as him. For 40 years. Her face didn't crack. She embarrassed this family. He died thinking his own daughter hated him. He died peaceful, she snapped. Because I made sure of it. I didn't argue. I walked past her, out to the porch, and flipped the switch back on. What are you doing? I already called her, I said. She's on her way. The color drained out of her face. You had no right. 2 hours, I said, checking my watch. That was 2 hours ago, Grandma. Headlights swung into the driveway. A car door opened. A gray-haired woman stepped out and stared up at the glowing porch light like she couldn't believe it was real. Grandma grabbed the door frame to keep herself upright. 40 years, Ruth said, climbing the steps. It was on the whole time, wasn't it, Mom?